The city of Midway is a small town located between Lexington and Versailles in Kentucky. Midway has a population of around 1,700 people and is famous for their uniquely designed downtown. Midway was the first town in Kentucky to be founded by a railroad, which runs through their main street. As a small town with a rich history from railroad, horse racing, distilleries, and more, David Hume, president of the Midway Museum Board of Directors, seeks to bring a museum to the town to share that rich history with his community.
Hey, my hometown is Midway. I have a farm outside of Midway, about 4 or 5 miles. I have a car restoration shop that I work on, and I'm 62 years old. My family goes way back in Midway history. My 3 great-grandfather was involved with the railroad and actually was quite involved with selling lots in the early days of Midway, right after the first railroad sort of failed. And then I had my other family has lived out on Old Frankfort Pike near Spring Station since the 1780s. We have 8 people on the board, and it is a collective effort. Okay. It's not just one person or 2 people, but everybody makes a decision. They're a group of people that were interested in the museum, and it sort of had a rebirth from last year, and a group of people got together and we said, let's try it, let's start again. So Midway has an incredible history. It's got a beautiful story how it started with the railroad, and it seems like in the early days people came to Midway to have a chance because Lexington and Frankfort were already pretty established towns, but you could buy a lot in Midway for $50 or $100 and start a new life. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I'd say a couple of hours a week for sure. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'd love the museum to be a national quality museum where people would want to come and research the area about the railroad and the area and what's gone on in Midway since 1835. Originally, the museum was started in the late, I think, 1998 or so, 2000, around that area. And we had a lot of public interest, and we started at that point in time, and then we kind of ran out of people, and it seemed like we had to stop again and stop. So it stopped for about 10 or 15 years, and now we have a group of motivated people that are interested to see it go forward. Yeah, it's not an individual thing, it's a community thing. It has to be a community effort. Donate time and money and interest in artifacts, all those things would be great. A lot of support. We've gotten a lot of artifacts. It just we need a little more to move forward, just a little more energy. We have a Facebook page that we reach out and we discuss a lot of the historic facts of towns and have a lot of pictures of people that have lived here, and we're always interested in looking for more pictures and more information. So it's been a good outreach.
Or is this like kind of the first?
This is kind of the building block. We've had some meetings where we've opened it up to the public, and we will do more of that. And we've had some pop-up displays downstairs to show, different points in time and history of Midway. So we had some, but not as much as we will. The quality of Midway, to know what your history is and know all the things that have gone on and the people that have been here before. And it's got a fascinating history because it's a town built for one of the first railroads in the country in the 1830s, which is extremely unusual. I think the 200-year anniversary of the railroad in 2035, if we could have a building and a location that and the ability to oversee the event and the ceremony to celebrate the town, that would be ideal. Because Midway is a small town, to have enough people to keep people motivated to move forward and to have a growing operation rather than one that just sort of stays at a certain level. We have a lot of photographs, and I think photographs and books, and we have a few artifacts, but I think photographs and documents are great. That's the easiest things to store. Been a great support, and to allow us to be here and to give us kind of a leg up and a great space. They've been perfect. Put us down tremendously, and in fact we've we've kind of canceled all our meetings for the rest of the year just because it's like there's only a limited thing we can do in the situation. So hopefully next year things will be more opened up and better and more outreach to the community. Pretty much donated. We have a few things, office supplies and stuff like that we'll buy, but most everything is donated. I think that's to be determined. We don't know exactly. It just depends on about a building or a location or how much enthusiasm is in the community, how much support. I think the future we'll just have to see how it grows and how people receive it. I want to say 50-50. I think a lot of new people here they love the quaintness of the town, but they don't necessarily know how rich the history is. And then there are people who have grown up here and maybe left, or older people that are still here that value the community and the history. But I think it's a mixture of things. But I think to be able to have a building or a location that can illustrate what that rich history is, I think people will be amazed. The old school in Midway from 1915, it burned, and it's a picture of all the people, and it's a great picture, and it's one of the few pictures we really have of the building and all the students. There are a couple of yearbooks back that we have that go along with this that show more pictures, and then we have some pictures of the actual burned building. And then we have a picture of the original Midway railroad station. This was the second station in Midway. The first one was burned in 1865 in a Confederate raid by some Confederate raiders, and then this was built, I think, around 1870, 1868, 1870. It took them about 5 years to get it back together, and so this was here until the early 60s, and then it was demolished, and there's no evidence of any real Midway railroad stations, even though the town was built by the railroad in the 1830s. But so we don't really have a railroad station, which is a little sad. But that's what the rebuilt railroad station from the 1870s looked like.